All right, so Ammo Williams and the WBC middleweight champion Carlos Adames just finished their weigh-in down in Florida, in the great state of Florida, BT, which
The
you know.
best.
And I had to bring in the unfadable, the untouchable Brendan Taylor of True School Sports, my brother, to help us break down this middleweight title fight tomorrow night. And I'll give some opening thoughts, and then you get to it, BT.
Hmm.
If you were to weigh out on a scale just the overall pedigree and technical skill of both fighters, it's definitely going to favor Carlos Adames. Okay. He is the more fluid fighter, the more skilled fighter. He has much better head movement with the upper body than Ammo Williams, who's very herky jerky with his upper body. But, there are some X factors here. Styles make fights. And
Yeah,
Adames, for the most part, through much of his professional career, has been a fighter that stays in range. And while he moves that upper body well, in theory, he should be in front of Ammo Williams enough to give Ammo some opportunities to wreak some havoc with his left hand, and he is an explosive fighter, and he's also kind of crazy.
yeah,
Carlos Adames is fighting a crazy guy in front of him who I do think is hungry. And even watching some of the build-up on Matchroom's channel, Adames is in his silk pajamas after training. He's pulling up in his Z06 Corvette. Nothing wrong with that, obviously. But Ammo just had the birth of his child. He seems very hungry to change
yeah.
his life with this fight. So and again, even though, and he's the bigger man, a little younger. I mean, there's no real age advantage here because Adames isn't old. He's 31 years old. But there is an activity advantage where Adames has fought once a year for the last 4 years. Ammo has fought more than twice, I think 9 fights in the same duration.
Yep.
There are a few things that make you go, Ammo's got a shot here, even though Adames, to the eyes, when you break down the film, is the better fighter. What do you think, BT? What's your opening thoughts?
My opening thoughts are that, you know, even activity aside, Sean, like one thing that Adamas has had in his career, as far as you could, I guess you call it a weakness. I know in between fights, it's been noted that he does blow up a lot in between camps. So that's one thing. The other thing is that Adamas, he does tend to fade as the fight goes on. So I think for Ammo, the really important thing is really just like keeping the fight close and making sure that you can use your youth to your advantage. Bring the fight to Adamas down the stretch. Um, One thing I think Ammo may have to overcome is the fact that Adamas can switch shit. So like
Hmm.
he could actually mirror that southpaw stance and take that away from Ammo a little bit. Um, but yeah, I mean, for all the technical skills that Carlos Adamas does have, I think Matchroom Boxing has done a great job of keeping Ammo active, and that may close the gap a bit as far as things in the technical department.
When's the last time you remember Adames really fighting off his back foot?
Mm. Not that's not really what he does.
It's not, which is what makes Terrence Crawford very impressive. When you look back at their sparring session from, I think it was 2015, when Adames was a 154 and Crawford was a
That's the one at
140.
Gleason's, right? Gleason's gym.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and Crawford was backing him up, and I'm like,
correct.
this may be the only time. And Adames had great. That was a tremendous 3 rounds they got in. It basically they were fighting. It became a battle of machismo and skill. And Adames, but he was turning Crawford in about the first round before all out war just broke out. But Crawford, man, was walking through everything and was pushing the bigger man back. I don't know. That's just an aside how psychotic, Terrence Crawford is and the kind of dog he has. But Adames went blow for blow
With
with
Terrence Crawford.
yeah.
Yeah, and I remember like before Adamas got beat by Patrick Teixeira when he was a top ranked fighter. A lot of people I used to talk to in the boxing world, they used to always tell me like he's the most talented Dominican fighter ever. You know, what do you think?
Nah, I think Johan Guzman
Yeah,
is a
I would say Joan
sensational
Guzman.
talent. Yeah.
Yeah, this before the Teixeira fight, so obviously that narrative doesn't really exist anymore. But back then, I remember he had a lot of hype.
And I know the two Cedeno kids, Yuri and Hendry, are getting a lot of hype right now coming out of Dominican boxing. So
You got Rohan Polanco.
Yeah, Rohan Polanco is explosive. Yeah, speed, power.
Yeah.
So I don't know, which way are you leaning towards in this matchup?
Um, it's really a matchup I haven't, thought that deeply about. But I would honestly Adamas. I still like Adamas over Ammo. I mean, I went back and I watched a bit of Ammo over the last couple of days, and I saw the Patrice Volney fight. I saw Patrice Volney in spots giving him problems with the range and boxing him, and he when he throws his left hand, Ammo sometimes falls over his front foot and pulls back. And a guy like Adamas, as technically sound as he is, could capitalize on that. So I really think for Ammo, if he wins this fight, it's gonna be like down the stretch, like the youth and the size and the activity takes over in the back half. That's kind of how I see it if he is to win. But I think if both guys are close to their best, Adamas should win on points.
I agree with that. If both guys are to their best, and Adames could stop him because Ammo gets caught clean. Even Wendy Toussaint in that late replacement fight from when this fight was supposed to happen in January was catching him and went the distance. Caught him with some shots here and there. And I also noticed BT that Ammo struggles to shorten up his shots.
Mm. Yeah, he's a gunslinger. Like he's not really a guy that throws straight punches. And a lot of fighters, for some reason, I've been noticing that, like, because I've been watching a lot of different fighters recently, and a lot of fighters have that problem. They just like to they can wing shots and throw the wide punches, but the straight shots, it's not that those feel like less comfortable, which is kind of crazy because when you go to the boxing gym, the first thing they show you is the 1-2.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. You're training, so people let them know the gym you're at. Fight Capital, home
Oh,
of
we we
champions.
we have, we have fight capital right now. Right now, we in camp with the champ, best featherweight in the world, Angelo Leo. But so we've been doing our film studies on different kinds of fighters and things like that, and yeah, just
Is Angelo in the house?
yeah, I think he's in the ring shadow boxing somewhere.
Do you think you could get a 2 second prediction out of him on his fight?
Hold
And
on,
I doubt he's had enough time in his own camp. And Pops too, Miguel. If they could just make him quick.
I doubt. Hold on. Where's he at? Where's Angelo at? Where's Angelo at? Right there, bud. Let's see. Hold on. Let me go
Real
find him right
quick,
quick.
just while the champ is
Hold on.
training.
Let me take my headphones off.
All right.
Hey Angelo, I'm with Sean right now. You got a prediction for Adamas versus Emma Williams?
To be honest, I don't. I
Yeah.
haven't seen any of them fight really.
No.
Yeah, give you guys the accurate prediction.
Yeah, I
Do you
didn't
have any
think so.
thoughts
He's
on
busy
Adamas'
training for
skills
Miguel.
or
Real
Emma?
quick, man. Do you got ammo
No.
Nah,
or
I know
Adamas,
he
Miguel?
hits hard. I know both of them hit kind of hard. It's definitely a good fight though.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sean?
What about Miguel? What about real quick with Miguel? Does
Hello?
he? Yeah. Ask Miguel real
I
quick.
can't hear you.
Oh, put your headphones back in.
Oh, headphones?
Yeah,
Hold on. Hold on. What the hell? You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why. I just couldn't hear you, but
What about Miguel? Does Miguel got a quick pick?
let me ask him. Miguel,
Yeah.
do you know anything about Adamas versus Emma Williams? You got a pick?
I don't know anything wrong.
I'm not I only like to watch the smaller weight class.
The smaller weight class, the featherweights?
Yeah, yeah.
What pertains to us, you know?
I hear you. I hear you. Wish them the best.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's good to get a cameo from them real quick.
We got a cameo. We got a cameo.
We'll continue on our path now.
Yes, we'll go on our
Um,
path.
so yeah, you're right. It's interesting the way some guys struggle with throwing straight shots, and you start falling in love with the uppercut and the hook and all that. But we won't get too deep into that. Um, but yeah, you mentioned, I agree with you. If both guys are at peak performance, Adamis's pedigree and craft, and he still punches hard, should be enough in his own right to be the better fighter. This is the sweet science at the end of the day. And I could talk about silk sheets and all that stuff, but and hunger and youth and some size on Ammo's side, but it should come down to if Damas is on point. But again, he only fights once a year, so
Yeah.
I don't know. And then analyzing how they both looked against Hamza Shiraz, obviously Adamas had the better performance.
No, he definitely did.
So yeah, do you take anything away from how both of them looked in the Shiraz fight?
Um, I mean, you can, but I mean, styles make fights. Shiraz is a taller guy. He's real rangy. So I mean, you can, but I mean, I wouldn't put too much stock into it right now, just because it's different challenges, different styles.
Hmm.
If Padavis wins, which I think he's going to, it's just going to be because he's more skilled and Ammo is it's funny because Ammo's been one of these guys from that original Matchroom Boxing USA class, Sean. Like Otha Jones the
Yes.
third, Raymond Ford, Mark Castro, Diego Pacheco,
Khalil
Nikita
Cole.
Bibi, Khalil Cole, all them guys. He's been one of these guys that first time match out of the amateurs, and he's been matched pretty consistently. Like he's always been an active fighter, but I still feel like even this deep into his career, he's still very much he kind of gets caught in between two styles.
Which two styles?
Like sometimes he wants to be the explosive puncher, and then sometimes he tries to be the volume puncher. In certain fights, he tries to be the volume puncher. I don't think he's fully matured his style and figured himself out in the ring.
This might be the fight where he does, though.
He might, it might. You never know. I mean, I know he's been down there in Florida with Kevin Cunningham. I know one of the guys in this camp. He's been sparring with Joe Sean James, who's a good fighter. Sometimes it takes these kind of challenges to graduate, your style and graduate as a fighter.
And I think he just might, man. I know like a lot of people have Adames going away, but there is a feeling in my stomach, seriously, that Ammo can pull this off. Between everything we talked about, the activity, the youth, the size, he's very explosive with his left hand. He's gonna live or die in this fight as he tends to by his left hand, you know. The overall punch selection and accuracy goes to Adames. But that left hand, it could be a problem, man, for Adames. So
It can. We'll definitely see. I think sometimes when you get a guy who's as well schooled as Adamas, sometimes a guy like Ammo who's as unorthodox and he is willing to let it fly. Sometimes that can overcome even the most technically proficient fighters if that fighter isn't active or his stamina ain't on par. So we'll see how it goes. It'd be cool to see Ammo get it done because the Matchroom Boxing USA guys they have only one's become champion. That was Raymond Ford, so he'd be the second.
right, they've been tending to fall short, man. Andy Cruz against Muratai. I know he's not that original crop you're talking about, but they tend to lose these cross promotional matchups.
Yeah,
But PBC doesn't keep their fighters as active as a top rank or some of these other company or Queensberry, So we'll see. This is a good test for both fighters. You
gets
know,
them hurt.
so you got Adamas.
I do on points, but we'll see.
Yeah, you know what?
You got Ammo going with the upset?
Ah, I you know, it's the sweet science. Adamas should win. He should win if he's on point and everything. But there's enough from Ammo, the intensity he's bringing to this fight, the fact that he is an explosive athlete that makes me, and the more active fighter that makes me hesitate. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a bitch and let this one play out. May the best man win.
that that's really what I should have did, honestly. But I'll go to Dominus. Why not?
There you go. All right. Thank you, BT.
No doubt, Sean.
Peace.